Okay, moving right along, we're going to be using reference angles to evaluate functions. How are we going to do this? Well, we are going to go ahead and use our reference angles from this piece to go ahead and solve. Now, if you go back all the way to, what was that? 8-2, where we talked about the degree and radian measures of special angles, you guys will be able to see that connection. But right now at this point, we're just going to go ahead, we're going to try to find the reference angle of -240 and then 17 pi over 6, and then we're going to evaluate it with tangent. So bear with me, we'll figure this out together, but let's go ahead and work on this. So we've got tangent of -240. Now, I'm going to go ahead, I'm just going to give you guys that visual of a circle. It always helps even me. So we've got 0, and then we've got 90 degrees, 180, 270, and then 360. But also, going in the negative direction, which we need to go, this is -90. You can check that using coterminal angles. This is a -180, and this is a -270. So what we're going to look at is we see that -240 is somewhere between -180 and -270. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do 180 minus 120, because 240 and 120 are coterminal. If you see that, adding it by 360, that gives us 120, and that's going to help us kind of follow the rules a little better, unlike on the last one we just worked backwards. So making it work with a coterminal angle may be easier on you, so you're not necessarily looking at negatives. Okay, so what we look at is we see that it's got this piece right here. I'll color it in red. And this is -240. Inside our reference angle is a 60. So that's a 60 degree, which we can go ahead and use our special right triangles that we connected with all the way back. So you should have a table of values for all your trig functions. Now, within that table of values, it tells you what tangent of 60 degrees is. So if you go ahead and find tangent of 60 degrees, look at it, it's going to tell you that tangent of 60 degrees is √3. Now, what I want you guys to look at in this problem, where it's located, this is actually a negative tangent of 60 because we are looking over in quadrant 2 because tangent is negative in quadrant 2. And that's on that previous slide where it talks about signs of function values. Tangent is negative. So your answer is actually going to be -√3. And that is it. So, couple little steps. Once we get the full unit circle labeled, that's going to be your lesson tomorrow. It's going to be significantly easier. Significantly easier. This is just the hard work to make sure that you guys understand the concepts. Okay, so we did that one. It's my beautiful straight line. We're going to go ahead and do cosecant of 17 pi over 6. First thing we need to do is we need to see what it's coterminal with. I'm just going to help you guys out, and instead of having to draw, we're going to see if we can subtract 2 pi and see if that works. Because remember, coterminal angles is adding or subtracting 360n, and then adding or subtracting 2 pi n if it's in the radians. So I have have 17 pi over 6. If I'm looking at things over 6, 2 pi is actually going to be 12 pi over 6. I'm going to subtract that to go backwards a whole rotation in my circle. And that's going to give me a 5 pi over 6, which that is in my unit circle. So I'm going to go ahead and draw it out so you guys get that visual. So our initial side, and then 5 pi over 6 is right about there. Now 5 pi over 6, that's what we are saying is coterminal to a whole extra rotation around. That second rotation is 17 pi over 6, and that's what we are working with. So now that we've figured that piece out, let's go ahead and we'll drop that down, and we need to figure out what this reference angle is. Well, we need to look at pi minus this piece, 5 pi over 6, which hopefully you see that's a pi over 6. And that is our reference angle, which we can relabel that to be 30 degrees. So if you look at what your cosecant value is at that piece, you will see that it is 2. So we can literally just go ahead and say cosecant of 17 pi over 6 is 2. Now, it is positive because if you look at the table of things being negative and positive, it holds to be a positive value because cosecant is related to sine, and sine is positive in the second quadrant. Now that I filmed this video, I think I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I have all those 3 tables that I referred to in this problem on the slide next to this video when I upload it. So just so you're aware, they should be there.